Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Murder She Streamed. Tonight, I'm going to do some brief coverage on a case that just happened this week in Lewiston, Maine. There was a mass shooting at a bowling alley and a local bar and grill this week on Wednesday, October 25th. And the suspect is still at large. They still have not been able to find him. And so I wanted to give this a little coverage because it's all over the news and the suspect's still at large, which means potentially more people could be in danger. So for those that are not familiar with what occurred this week, I have a video. We're going to take a quick look at what took place.
We are also following developing news as the manhunt for the suspect in the Maine mass shooting continues. Police have been looking for Robert Card since he allegedly shot and killed 18 people in the town of Lewiston on Wednesday night. They say the main focus of their search now is on a river, as entire cities are being told to shelter in place.
ABC's Rena Roy joins us now live there in Lewiston, Maine, with all the latest developments this afternoon. Rena.
Well, Brian and Sarah, officials say that they are leaving no stone unturned in this investigation. They really are searching high and low for Robert Card as they also continue to identify the victims. Authorities in Maine mapping out in detail exactly how they're trying to track down alleged mass shooter Robert Card, who's considered armed and dangerous, nowhere to be found for 2 days now.
I want to assure all that a tremendous amount of law enforcement manpower, time, and effort is being utilized around the clock in every effort to apprehend the suspect as well as to safeguard this community.
Police say a main focus right now is this river in the town of Lisbon, near a boat launch where investigators found Card's abandoned car left running with the door open and a firearm inside. Officials say Card owned a boat and a jet ski. Divers going into the water, aircraft searching from above, and sonar equipment will also be used.
So I'm not saying that the suspect, we know the suspect is in the water and this is what we're doing. What I'm telling you is you're going to see a lot of activity here.
ABC News has learned Card's sister told investigators she thought her brother may have been going after an ex-girlfriend who was frequently in the bowling alley. Detectives also going through more than 530 tips from the public as survivors speak out about the terrifying moments at the bowling alley and local restaurant where authorities say Card opened fire, killing 18 people and injuring 13 others.
Okay, so here's the latest. Armed tactical teams fanned out across a large rural stretch of southern Maine today as part of a manhunt for the gunman, this guy, accused of the mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. His name is Robert R. Card Jr., 40 years old. Authorities still have not been able to locate him. Shelter-in-place orders were lifted after nearly 2 days, as authorities acknowledged that they might actually be doing more harm than good by continuing to keep people indoors. Officials announced that hunting would be prohibited in the 4 towns where the police have focused their search: Lewiston, Lisbon, Bowdoin, and Monmouth, and cautioned that residents elsewhere might hear gunshots from hunters rather than police officers. Investigators said that they found a note when executing search warrants Thursday night at several properties in the town of Bowdoin that belonged to the family of Robert Card, who police have identified as the suspect in the shootings that killed 18 people at a bar and a bowling alley and wounded 13, but have not been able to find Robert Card. Law enforcement has not seen him in the last 2 days, and they also don't know how many weapons he might currently have in his possession. They indicated on Friday that they were settling in for a long manhunt, and authorities would continue to search a section of the Androscoggin River near a boat launch where his car was found. 7 victims died in the Just-in-Time Recreation bowling alley, and 8 died at Shemengi's Bar and Grill about 4 miles away. 3 others died at the hospital. Authorities declined to disclose details in the note that was found in a home that was associated with the suspect and did not say whether or not they believe that he either fled, ditching his vehicle, or has possibly died. That's also a question that I have. They apparently found his vehicle running a couple of miles from the scene. There was a weapon in the car, which they have not been able to determine whether or not that was the particular weapon that he used in the shooting. They suspect that he could have possibly escaped by boat because he owned at least one boat. And there's also a suspicion of whether or not he may have committed suicide, and that's why they have not found him yet. Authorities have released a list of the victims. One thing to note is that the oldest victim was 76 years old. The youngest was 14. The 14-year-old was a young male named Aaron Young, and it doesn't look like any other children were killed. It actually appears that the victims were mostly male. Almost all of the victims were middle-aged to older individuals. So let's take a look at the timeline of the Lewiston shootings. At 6:56 p.m., a gunman opens fire at the Spare Time Recreation Center, killing 7 people and injuring several others. At 7:08 p.m., only 4 miles down the road, the gunman opens fire at Shemengi's Bar and Grill, killing 8 people. At 11:20 p.m., police announced that there was a vehicle of interest that was discovered, matching the description. This is the vehicle that was found running with the weapon in the car belonging to Robert Card. Police have issued an arrest warrant for Card, a 40-year-old trained firearms instructor believed to be in the Army Reserve stationed out of Saco, Maine. So who is Robert Card? Authorities are still attempting to locate the suspect in the mass shooting that killed 18 people and left another 13 injured. He fled the aftermath of the shootings, police said, and law enforcement launched a manhunt involving hundreds of state and local officers and at least 80 FBI agents. Card is 40 years old and is from Bowdoin, Maine, a town near Lewiston. He's described as being 5'11" tall and weighing 230 pounds. He's also a military reservist and had a history of mental health issues. Police have stated, obviously, that he should be considered armed and dangerous as he's still on the run and they've not been able to locate him. They shared several images of the suspect in the shootings and asked anybody with information to contact law enforcement. Lewiston Police Department released several photos on social media showing that the gunman was holding a semi-automatic rifle at one of the shooting scenes Wednesday night and was wearing a brown shirt, dark pants, and light shoes. Robert Card attended the University of Maine as an engineering student, but it's unknown whether or not he actually graduated from school. His last known address was in Bowdoin, Maine. He also has connections to Massachusetts, but the exact nature of his ties to Massachusetts were not immediately clear. Mass State Police are stationed at the Maine border along with federal agents, and officers were also stationed along the Maine border and the New Hampshire border as a precaution. So let's take a look at his military background. He's enlisted in the U.S. Army Reserve and has an active military ID, which gives him access to any military base. It also says that he was previously a firearms instructor in the Army Reserve, but it's also been rumored that may not be the case. He has no combat deployments, and he's received a number of awards for his service, including the Army Achievement Medal, the Army Reserve Component Achievement Medal, Humanitarian Service Medal, National Defense Service Medal, and an Army Service Ribbon. It's been recently reported that Card has been experiencing mental health issues, including hearing voices, and threatened to shoot up a military base. The law enforcement bulletin said that he also was reported to have been committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks this past summer. But apparently 2 weeks is as long as they can hold him legally, and he was released. It was also reported by colleagues in the military that Card had been recently acting erratically, talking about hearing voices, and also reporting that he had voices that were telling him that he needed to shoot up a military base. The brand of semi-automatic weapon used in the shooting was not immediately known, but officials described it as an assault rifle with an extended magazine and scope. Investigators have recovered multiple firearms from the suspect's residence, in addition to the gun that was found in his vehicle as well. So there's some questions about motive. Why would this man do this? Some people have reported that were close to him that he was possibly looking for a former girlfriend who used to frequent the bowling alley. Perhaps she also frequented the restaurant that he went to. It's not made clear, but we are hoping that they're able to apprehend him and at least arrest him and take him into custody, or if he has committed suicide, at least locate him so that the rest of the people in the community can rest easy knowing that he's been found. And that is all I have for today's episode of Murder She Streamed. We just wanted to give a quick update on this constantly developing situation. Again, really hope that he's found one way or the other, and I will keep an eye on this case. And if there's any further updates that are interesting and perhaps newsworthy, then I'll do another update. Okay, so just as we were putting the edits in place and getting ready to post this video, another update came in that Robert Card has been found. His body was found just moments ago, apparently in his former place of employment, which was a recycling center just down the road from where his abandoned car was found left running with an AK-47 type assault rifle in the car, which they believe was the weapon that was used in the shooting. They also found a note and released a little more information that there were some details in the note that indicated apparently that the suspect did not believe he was going to be found alive by the time this note was read. They still haven't released any more details up to this point on that. I'm actually getting ready to watch this press conference that I've been waiting on that's getting ready to take place to see if there's any more details that are released. Obviously, the media is present, so they're going to be asking some questions and see if we can find out a little bit of information. But the town of Lewiston and surrounding areas can rest easy knowing that he's at least been found, and people can kind of come out of their homes and start putting the pieces together and taking in what happened. Again, 18 people were killed within 4 miles of each other at 2 different locations. This was a bowling alley where people were out, bowling leagues, and the other place was a bar and grill, which was more like a billiards place. They're both really large locations that can hold a lot of people. So it is a good thing that so many people did make it out, but a terrible tragedy that 18 people were killed and so many others injured and their lives forever changed. There is more information and detailed information that's coming out now, stories attached to the victims, who they were. There was a married couple I know of, an older married couple that was killed. There was also the father and son, the 14-year-old boy that we mentioned earlier. His father was there. They were bowling together. And so there's a lot of tragic stories. There's going to be a lot of funerals, services, a lot of information and vigils and things that are going to come as we go down the road. There's a lot of questions that are going to come into play. Of course, there's going to be, as there always is with a mass shooting, the big argument about guns and gun rights and what people think that should be done. There's also going to be the issue of mental health that's going to come up, because as we've heard up to this point, even from his family, members of his family have said that his mental health state was not good. He had been hospitalized for 2 weeks this summer, and he had been reported to have been acting erratically, saying that he was hearing voices that were telling him that he needed to kill people and commit a mass shooting. Some people have speculated that the motive could be related again to an ex-girlfriend, and perhaps these were places that she had frequented, which would have been why he went there. But again, it also could be that these were large complexes. When I saw on the news today aerial footage of these locations, both of them, they're pretty big and they hold a lot of people. So if your goal is to take out as many as possible, I guess those locations make sense. And because they were so close together, he obviously had plans not to survive this incident and be taken into custody. So that's unfortunate. So many times these shooters aren't caught and end up committing suicide before they're able to be apprehended. But it is good to know that at least there's a little bit of resolution in the fact that he's been found. He's not on the loose and people aren't in their homes fearing. People can actually come out and pay their respects and grieve as they need to. So I'm sure a lot more investigation is going to take place and a lot more information is going to come out as the days unfold. And I appreciate, like I said before, everybody stopping by and hanging out, and take a look at other videos that I've posted on other cases, and stay tuned for more. If you don't mind, please hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you around. Thanks, everybody.